In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can access your server remotely using a program called PuTTy. PuTTy, it's a program designed for usage within Windows. This program allows you to SSH from a Windows server or from a Windows machine to Linux servers using the port 22 protocol. So as you can see here, I have already saved my sessions for all of the servers from my home environment, and I already have server 6 here. So if I want, for example, to connect on it separately, I just double click on it, enter the user that I want to connect as, and I'm just gonna type in the password, and there you go, I'm already logged on. So I'm going to show you how we can do that. But before we proceed with this, I have to let you know that we need to do two things. So for example, the first one, we need to edit our host's file. And in order to edit our host file, first of all, you have to make sure that inside properties, where you set up your security permissions, you have to make sure that this particular so-called user or application packages has only read permissions. Because if you don't set this only to read permissions, your antivirus might comment again your lines inside the host file. So make sure that from this location in the C drive, Windows System32 drivers and etc, in host, or actually on the host file, on the security tab, for all application packages you allow only read access. Otherwise your antivirus system will change your entries inside hosts and it will comment out the lines. For example, mine are not commented here, but if you don't do this, as soon as your computer reboots, after the reboot, these lines will be commented automatically, and then you won't be able to use PuTTy to remotely connect to your servers. So before we do anything, make sure that first of all you make sure that you change the permissions on the host file. The second thing that we need to do is to copy your file from here in hosts from Windows System32 drivers, etc. Copy it somewhere else. For example, I'm going to copy mine in downloads, and you can edit your file from here. So you just double click on it and you can edit it then. Another thing that we have to do is to go in our server, and from our server we have to check our IP address. So you do that with the IP space A command for IP all. And in order to find your IP, you look for your first network adapter. Mine is called ENP0S3, and underneath that you have a line that starts with INET, which stands for internet. So that's your address for the server, and you just copy this one from here. I'm gonna cover my IP, of course, but that's perfectly fine. You'll just need to copy your address from here. So make a note of the address, and after that you have to make a note of your hostname as well. So for example, with the command hostnamectl, you can view some more in-depth details about your server, including the hostname as well. So make a copy of server6 -rocky.example.com, or however you have named your server. Mine is named like that. So make a copy of your IP and also make a copy of your hostname, and with that go inside your host file, edit it with Notepad or whatever editor you want, and add the line here at the bottom. For example, I have added my servers with their IP addresses and their host names as well. So all you need to do, add the IP address similarly how it's, for example, here, because we have an example from the Windows as well. So first add the IP address, then you add the FQDN, and then you can put a space and add the short name. So for example, you can do something like this. Let's say that your IP address is 10.2.45.1, and let's just say that your server is called server1.example.com. That's the FQDN, and then put a space there and add server1 as well. Save the file. Once you are done with it, let me just make sure that I don't leave that line there. So once you're done with that, save your file, and then from the folder where you edit it, go ahead back in Windows System 32 drivers etc and paste this file again here. You can open it again just to make sure that your entries have been kept, and then just double check to make sure that you still have that permissions for all application packages. So for all application packages I have only read permissions, that's fine. So we are done with the Windows part. Now we have to go back in our server, and while being logged on as root, you do this using the command su root, and if you are asked for the password, just type in the password for the root user account, and from here just use your Vim editor and edit the host file inside the Linux server as well. So you do that with vim etc hosts, enter here, and on the last line you also add the IP address of your server. So I'm gonna do that for mine, and then just type in the FQDN. So mine is server6-rocky.example.com, and then just type in here server6, save this file, and now we are ready to proceed with our next step. So our next step is to download the actual PuTTy tool. Now I already have it downloaded, but I'm gonna show you the website from where you can download it and how to download it. So we go on www.putty.org, and directly from the first page we go on this hyperlink to download PuTTy, and here we are prompted with all of the installations. So since we are on a Windows server or on Windows machine, we are gonna go for 64-bit x86. Just gonna click on it, and it already started downloading, finished downloading. So if I go back here I have my installer. So in order to install it, just double click on it, hit next. Now because I already have it installed, it's asking me for repair or remove, but you just have to click next, and then finish. And once this is finished, just search for your program. For example, mine is called PuTTy, and in order to add one of your servers, let's see for example that I'm going to delete my server 6 from the list and I want to add it back. So in order to do that, on top where you have hostname or IP address and the port 22, by the way, don't change the port unless you changed it on your server, so leave it on the default one, 2022. We will change our port server for the server later on. So let's just type in here server6-rocky.example.com. So this is the actual FQDN that we will use to connect to our Rocky server. And if you want to save this, which I highly recommend, you have to add here save sessions. So basically here we just add a name. Now because I like to keep mine like this, I'm just gonna copy paste it, or you just use server 6, however you prefer. So for example, if I write here server 6, I hit on save, and there you go. On the last line I have my server 6. Your server will be named server 1 or whatever name have you given it to your server. So as soon as you are done with that, you just select it, click open, and this will automatically load, and here you just have to type in your user. For example, I'm gonna SSH as Johnny, and I'm gonna type in my password, and I am remotely connected as Johnny. Now if you want to change your font for PuTTy, unfortunately it's not really that smart. You can still do that, but in order to change your font for the server, this default settings doesn't really work, because I have set it up with a specific font, unique space bold and 14, but for whatever reason it does not apply it to my server. So to rectify that, you can go and delete your session and add it again, but before you save it, add the hostname here, and on the save session settings make sure that you don't click on the save button, and instead go on the left side on window and then click on appearance. Make sure that you set up your font however you want. So let's say that I want to keep unispace and bold and with the size 14. As soon as I do that and then I hit save, as soon as I try to log in on Rocky server 6, there we go, my font has been changed and it's higher, and I can read better from it now. There are, of course, other tools such as MobaXterm. So if you want to, you can also use MobaXterm. And let's go here. You can use MobaXterm as well, which is better than PuTTy because it has some more additional features. So you can also set up SSH sessions with that. And there is a free version as well, and you can even download this and set it up. And I already have MobaXterm installed. Let me just cancel this. So for example, if you want to add your new session, you can even create folders. And I created 2 folders because I split my environments in 2 different compartments. So if I want, for example, to create a new folder, name this my home in server, I can just right click on the folder, click on new session, and inside the SSH you just add the remote host, and you can add the IP address or the FQDN name. So I'm just gonna add my FQDN of the server, and right here on the bookmark settings you can give it whatever name you want. So let's say that I want to name mine Rocky server. As soon as I do that, I hit OK, and it automatically opens a login as, and I can just log in as Johnny, hit enter, and enter the password, and you are logged on as well. But for the sake of simplicity, I'm not going to use MobaXterm. I am going to use PuTTy moving forward. So the next sessions will be recorded using PuTTy. But of course, you can change that if you want to. You can use MobaXterm instead of PuTTy, or you can just use the terminal directly from the graphical server like this. So it's up to you. But I just wanted to show you that there are some tools that you can use outside. The only difference is that if you use the terminal inside VirtualBox, you cannot copy and paste information from outside or inside the terminal. So for example, if I want to copy, let's say Johnny @ I just highlight this here, and let's just go here, and there you go. You can just copy paste it, and of course nothing is here, but you get the idea. I don't even know why this shows with Rocky. Maybe I should watch the Rocky series again. So thank you for joining. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I wanted to show you how I access my servers outside the VirtualBox environment, and how you can use different tools like PuTTy or MobaXterm to achieve that goal. Thank you for joining. Stay tuned for what comes next, and have a nice day. Cheers!